Yo, what's up? This is Cam Gnarly, and you're watching That's Hip Hop.
Good morning, good noon, good evening, wherever time and place you listen to us from, straight from the 909. We have the legendary Cam Gnarly in the building, and myself, Nesquick, and together, that's hip hop. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. It really does mean a lot. Today we are talking with one of the rare artists whose influence comes not just from his music he makes, but from the ecosystem he builds around him. His style is a fusion of grounded Inland Empire grit, introspective lyricism, and a refreshing sense of optimism. A blend that sets him apart in a hip-hop landscape often dominated by extremes. Sonically, Cam moves fluidly. Soulful, jazzy textures, boom-bap roots, West Coast bounce, alternative rap aesthetics, all woven together with a poet's attention to detail. His delivery is warm yet razor sharp, and his storytelling reflects a lived reality shaped by the complexities of San Bernardino. He doesn't imitate the coast's trends. He elevates the IE's voice into something unmistakably its own. But Cam's legacy extends far beyond his discography. In the Inland Empire, he is a cultural anchor, a connector who has consistently built platforms, bridged creative communities, and shown younger artists what it looks like to move with intention. From events, collaborations, and mentorships to his presence at grassroots shows, he helped carved out a legitimate regional identity for IE hip-hop, one rooted in authenticity and self-determination. Nationally and globally, Cam Gnarly represents a new school of independent artistry, artists who thrive without chasing algorithms. You know what I mean out there. Who cultivate community rather than competition, and who lead with purpose. His influence ripples through the IE's growing recognition, inspiring artists across borders to embrace their local narratives instead of running from them. In short, Cam Gnarly's legacy is both artistic and infrastructural. He didn't just make his mark on hip-hop. He helped shift the way an entire region sees itself. Better put some respect on his name, the GoPro Mr. Posse, Cam Gnarly himself. Welcome to the show, man.
The intros are getting more and more illustrious. I appreciate that. Thank you, bro.
It's time to level up, man. I feel like you had such a crazy run this year. That's why I kind of want to talk to you, because it reminds me of K-Dot. Like, you know, this like run of popping up here and there, and it's you've been doing it. I've been telling you, I've seen you do this, you know, but it just feels different this year.
Yeah.
Do you feel that?
I do. I definitely do. I reflect on, I think when we were here, it had to have been the beginning of 2024 or like somewhere around the end of it. And I remember playing you some, like I took it personal, and just like I had such a game plan at that time, and just leaving space. I think I even was saying like, and whatever else is going to happen, God just going to make happen. And yeah, I definitely feel the difference just within myself, and just the way that the intentionality has been received in this year. It's been crazy. It's been so fast too. I feel like I can't believe we're already at the end of the year. It has been like a lot of energetic moments of like pulling a lot of energy and attention into this one thing, and to see the focus be able to shift so many times, it's really dope. So I definitely received that. Shout out to that.
Yeah, for those who aren't in our region who are watching, just to put it in context, Cam Gnarly started off the year with calling on, what's the official title? I'm saying calling on my energy.
It's calling on my energy.
Calling on my energy.
Yeah.
That, if you look it up, calling all my energy back to me, that song, it feels nostalgic, but then it feels like spiritual. It feels like it, you know, it could hit everybody like a different way. There's so much blending to it, probably. Then to start off, he drops that, and then he collabs with a dope band collective, Midnight Snack.
Yeah.
And that, you know, it was kind of like a Tiny Desk style video that you guys dropped. That was sponsored by Altura.
Yeah.
That was in the One Love IE's headquarters.
Yeah.
So a lot of that going on. I seen you do a show at the Juneteenth event in San Bernardino.
Oh yeah.
That was that was a moment. Like, I mean, Juneteenth itself is kind of, this is, I think, is the second or third year of us, like, being able to celebrate that.
Yeah.
And then you guys did such a dope performance, like it's kind of like one of those you had to be there kind of things. Then you do a legendary performance at a string of venues. Was it the Farmhouse?
Yeah.
With the Soul Service.
Oh yeah. We started Soul Service. Actually, the first iteration of that was sometime in the end of summer after. I want to say it was after Juneteenth. We did the first Soul Service iteration in downtown San Bernardino at Soul Alley grand opening, and then Farmhouse reached out sometime after that, and we did that version of it, like but more more full band background singers and just like the whole full blown aesthetic run in late November. Yeah.
You did the Stowaway, Herbs and Hike.
Oh yeah.
Herbs and Hike, was that the one where it was like at this cool like upstairs balcony thing? I've seen some video of that before.
The Herbs and Hike, that's one of the events that me and Skywalker Mike, we DJ at the park. We do sunset sessions, and we collaborated with our longtime partners at Brown Sugar and Coffee, and they did something called Herbs and Hike, and then that collaborated with us as that hike led through that park in Riverside and led to where we were doing sunset sessions. So we would DJ during that session. So that was one of our DJ sessions. Something on a balcony. I can't remember which one.
It was a crazy one. There was like a crazy view or something.
Oh, you're thinking that was the Bay. We were in the Bay Area for that. Yeah, me, Skywalker Mike, and Chav, we did a mini Bay run, and we did.
That was this year as well, huh?
Yeah, that was this year. We did. I want to say we did. We did Oakland. What's the other city outside of? Sacramento, Oakland, and San Francisco, and then we came back. But yeah, that's what that balcony spot was.
Yeah, it was a cool scene.
Yeah. Those shows were like those were like back houses and like these like really mansions in Oakland and stuff like that, like these really old homes. And I love Oakland. I love going to Northern Cali. That was a really good time though too. I forgot about that. That happened so fast. We were out there for fast. I think we were out there for like a week and a half, but we did all those shows in that small amount of time.
There was a place called, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Maybe you could correct me. Devorah's House?
Oh, Devereaux House.
Devereaux's House? Okay.
Yeah, we played that with, that's Midnight Snack plays there. I think it's like every last Friday or first Friday of the month. And then, what was it? Was it Thursday? Yeah, Thursdays of the month. And we played Devereaux House together. Yeah, those are my partners, Midnight Snack. That's their like residency there, and I did I headlined their Snack Fest there, and then
that's like their festival, huh? Mm-hmm. They're doing like a festival like that. You also did Mucho Gusto that event. That event was pretty cool.
That was crazy too. Yeah, I think I was one of the only black hip hop artists at that event as well too. So to see the crowd kind of like really form for our set, which is definitely more like that event had more like a lot of like cumbia vibes and like other like different kind of like live instrumentation than what we were doing. It was like more of like a jazz and hip hop and R&B vibe. It was really dope to like have that moment to stand out. But yeah, it was really that was a rare performance for sure.
Yeah, that was a good one. And I would have been there. Something else conflicted, and I was like, oh crap. But I saw the videos of it, and I was like, "Oh, dang, that was a dope place to be."
Yeah, there was a lot of my homies. I shot Brain Story, Della Deso.
Oh yeah, Brain Story too. Yeah,
Chola Orange. Yeah, it was fire. Those are my people.
And then also cool vendors that were doing like the hat bar thing. That's kind of where that popped off at.
Yeah. Shout out to Creatively Collected.
Yeah. And then coming towards the later end of the year, you do a Baker's collab, which was monumental, man. That is legendary.
Thank you,
because Baker's is such a unique thing to hear. Like it feels like somebody who should have done this a long time ago, but no one ever did until you just knocked it out of the park with doing such a dope collab, such a dope promotion of it. And then leading into the actual day of was, man.
Yeah, that was
dope.
Yeah, that felt really good. to create a stage in my literally my hometown. You know, like I go to that baker's all the time. I'm literally there all the time. I pass by the street all the time. So to create and kind of merge the worlds and the history of like, you know, I used to do all kinds of stuff in that park in that particular parking lot. Like so many versions of myself have like been in that lot. So to be able to bring what I've done musically in the last few years, to be the first artist ever to, you know, partner with bakers in that capacity, like it's never been done before, and I feel like it does definitely scream like how come, like, you know, why didn't someone else do it? But I just feel blessed that I got the call to do that, or like for the opportunity to come my way in that way.
I want to explain to people like those who are watching that aren't in our region, especially, you know, this isn't something that just happened overnight. Like being able to collab with bakers, you know, it took a building or leading up to it, I think, you know, because you won the Citizen of the Year, was it?
Citizen Award. Yeah, Citizen of the Month Award in March 2024.
I mean, that's such a big deal. To me, I feel like that, to be able to accomplish that off of, you know, your project or your album. If you didn't know, he dropped an album about San Bernardino, about his
North
hometown.
Gnarly,
yeah. And then leading to ultimately being awarded the citizenship award, then, you know, opening up other doors. Like you're just constantly busting down doors, being able to connect and do community events that are bigger and much larger than the music itself. Hats off to you.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a different type of alignment, and just kind of like you said, like moving with the fluidity, like just being in flow with what is coming my way and the best way to be effective in those moments. You know, I'm never trying to be performative in any type of way. So when I do get an opportunity to do something, I'm always thinking about like what's the best way to do this without making it corny or cheesy or like you know, kind of like taken away from the moment. You know, because I feel like I've seen you could see somebody get something like that and maybe just kind of like beat it to death. And it's like, for me, it has been a slow build of a relationship from getting the Citizen Award that opened up the dialogue with like myself and One Love IE to have that meeting and then be aware of me already. But that comes with other like levels of intentionality of like, you know, doing North Gnarly and shooting a music video at Baker's or like rapping about Baker's on the intro to the album, like, you know, really setting the scene. Cause, you know, what's more IE than a Baker's? It's our In and Out, it's our Fat Burger, you know, for our community. So if I'm making an album trying to align my perspective with what these like community pillars are, Baker's is one of the first that come to mind. Almost as much as like the Fontana swap meet or anything else, you know, like these places that if you're from here, you know, these are landmark things. And then from that, you know, we did the holiday giveaway and they sponsored that as well, and giving away 600 food vouchers and, you know, really just, you know, and also donating toys and, you know, creating more of a dialogue to remind them that this is more of a community thing. And I didn't want something to be about me until it made sense for it to be. And I feel like it was really great to see the relationship flow in that way where we could do something community oriented because we are musicians in that way. So the music is always going to show its face in the space, but it's not all about this and it's not all about me. But to then see, like I said, about the flow of energy shifting and to be able to align the creative history, like starting, like my first thought was like aligning the creative history of Della Deso. Like I want to shout out Richie as well because Richie was one of the first people I knew who did collaborate with Baker's. And I remember going into the Baker's meeting and seeing one of Richie's, his spicy ketchup painting on the wall and saying like, oh, that's my friend. And having that connection in that space where, you know, there were other people in the meeting, for example, just to like give it back. So there's other people in the meeting who had their lawyer and their and I'm there just like representing myself as I do often, and you know, finding a grounding moment, looking up at the wall and seeing my friends work here and being like, okay, like I where I am is happening for a reason, and that's my grounding reminder that look, that's your man's right there. So it made sense for me when, you know, on the tail end of doing Mucho Gusto as well, like that gave me opportunity to be around Richie. I've known Del Deso since I want to say 2009. He was one of the first people who did a graphic for a group that I was in, the Hi-Hats, like back in 2009. So we've known each other that long.
Was Richie, well, sorry if I'm getting this wrong. Are you referring to the dude that was doing the promotion with you?
Yes,
for the
yeah,
Bakers?
yeah.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's also the one who designed the kids meal cup for Baker's. So when you go to Baker's and you get the kids meal cup, that's his graphic design on there. So it felt really dope to kind of partner with somebody that I know in an artistic community way to be like, yo, I have this similar opportunity and I want to bring you back into the fold of this thing and let's like frame it together. So I remember us meeting and we talked for like, like I said, I've known him for years. So we ended up talking at Baker's for like 3 hours before we even talked about like what we're gonna do or what the flyer's gonna look like or what the promo will be. And very similar to what that video was. That's what it was, like us just sitting down and talking about what it would be. And it was really dope because for years I've been asking Deladesso to draw me, back in the day when he was a Tumblr legend doing the grime designs, and he never got around to doing it. And I remember bumping into him some time ago. Before all this, and he was like, low key, like so many people were like stealing my style. I thought you would just get somebody else to do it. And I never did. And it felt good that the first time of him actually doing it could be this Baker's moment and, creating that moment. And I feel like it meant so much. And then just putting the thought, it was just really fun putting the intention into what Baker's was offering me to partner along with the music. It was centering in people. If I would have did the same exact thing across the street, I don't think the moment would be the same. Like the moment is cultivating the community history with Bakers and the community activation of like what Gnarly means to San Bernardino and aligning these things together. So to throw
planets aligning.
Yeah, right. Yeah. To do a show right there in the lot that I grew up in and outside of, and and have people pull up and buy like $1,000 of merch, along with like getting all this like free food and opportunity from like Bakers. Like, it was one of the best days of my year for sure, of life for real, because I can reflect and tell some of my homies who've known me for years to be like, damn, like look what I've done from when we were just like smoking in this parking lot.
To have a Gnarly meal at Bakers.
Yeah, that was a good time, man.
Yeah, that's ill.
Yeah.
Look Bakers up. If you guys don't know, man, Bakers is so dope in this region. And it's just, you just highlighted it, man. It's ill. When we cap off the year, you also had a dope performance at 909 Day.
Yeah.
Shout outs to Noah James and Lisa J. You had a dope, you guys like put a finale bow on it on that whole night. It was a Tuesday night. People stayed there late, almost to midnight, for you guys.
Yeah, good crowd.
You guys closed it out. Yeah, man, dude. Yeah, and then at the end of it, Empire Now gives you an award for Collab of the Year.
Yeah,
with Midnight Snack, and man,
Skywalker Mike and Kayana for calling on my energy.
Yes. Oh man.
Yeah.
What a year, Cam.
It's been a good one. We're definitely working hard. Looking back on it now, like I said, it all goes so fast, and I want to definitely give it up to the people in my life who've been dealing with the whirlwind of activities. I couldn't have done it without like so much support of the team and loved ones around me, because it has been a lot, but nothing without purpose.
I want to go kind of take it back now, talking about, this energy, the intention of this new era that you're now in.
Yeah.
When you created calling all my energy back to me, what energy were you actually calling back?
I feel like it was a mixture of both, of like kind of reclaiming a reminder that was happening. On the tail end of North and Gnarly, I was having this dream I had a dream of my grandmother coming to me in a dream, and I was in a really frustrated and stressed out place in my life at that time. And this actually happened before the release of North and Gnarly, and this also happened long before, like months before actually writing the song. And it was all mixed in together, having this dream, going through like these life changes of like literally watching the cast of people that were in my life and the version of myself in that life all kind of just like come to a close, and kind of like existing in the remnants of it, and having this thought in my head this whole time of just feeling like faith is guiding me towards something else, and I just had to follow what happened after that dream. And that's what led me to like my fasting journey. That's what led me to a greater relationship in my faith as well. And then and I definitely got to credit so much of what was going on with the success of North and Gnarly and in 2024. So sometime in 2024, I think it was like I want to say it was like January, because I think I only recorded like 3 or 4 songs in that. Well, no, I did a lot more actually, but just like the ones that the ones that came out. I remember having a session with Skywalker Mike, who produced that record, in my backyard, and I was going through stuff, and I was just thumbing through like all these rhymes and words that I had written, because my writing style sometimes is like I'm writing prayers, sometimes I'm writing thoughts, sometimes I'm writing like raps, but it's more about my ability to put them into rhyme, or like rhyme them or rap them in that way, even if what I'm reading ain't really necessarily meant to be a rap. It's just like, this is what the silver line is to this thing. And I remember going through and scrolling through, and none of these things were all together, like on one page. And the beat had a flow enough that I'm just like vibing with it. And I remember being so proud of it, because it does have this optimism to it, where it's like you're calling all your energy back to you, or I was calling the energy back to myself, but also has like this this kind of like melancholy, almost like somber energy as well, because like you can feel there's some reason why I'm calling the energy back to myself, because I'm, it's almost like pouring into this cup that was empty, and as you get further into the song, it just fills and fills and fills.
Powerful,
and
victory,
for real. And that's where I really was at that time. I remember knowing that, having that song in 2024, and knowing that this is what we're going to release first, like before, because I also had much of what later became I Took It Personal done too, but knowing that I had a story to tell, and not just a story, the narrative that I was just like came up with, but like really one that's just like a lived experience, where I'm like, this is what's going on with me, this happened first, and I feel like it's really important for me to pay homage to the messages that I'm receiving, to the guidance that I'm receiving, and just to like the flow that I'm in, to put this out first. And I feel like it is kind of like, whether it be an award or whatever, it was just as important to me to put that song out as it's great to like receive an award for. But even if I hadn't, like, it's a nice bow at the end of it to be like, damn, like y'all really resonated with this, because I had all intentions of putting out I Took It Personal much earlier, and all of this dialogue inside of myself was going on all the way back in 2023, because some of I Took It Personal was done in 2023, North and Gnarly was done in 2023, and I didn't make Calling On My Energy until 2024. So the thought process that I was having at that time was, which way do I want to come out? Like after my last drop, do I want to put out I Took It Personal first? Do I want to do an album dedicated to my community first? And I'm so happy that it did go the way that it did, because I can't say that it would all have played out the same, because there's so many things that were just like outside of my control that I was just like in present flow for, that I couldn't write it. You know what I mean? Like, or I didn't write it. And I feel like it's that's where my mindset was in that song, where I was like, I was calling my energy back to me so that I could have the energy to, stand firm on like this demanding of respect that I know I was about to go into, or, or even that's just why it was important to put it out, so that could be a part of the musical narrative. But on the personal side, I was calling my energy back to me because I needed it to do what was to come next, which was having all these like uncomfortable conversations and like all these like personal moments that brought me into the completion of I Took It Personal before I knew that's what it was going to be, or before I knew, what it would look like, or what additives would be a part of it later on, like when the clarity came. But that song was written at a time where I didn't know what I was going to do next, but I knew I had to get that out first. And that was just kind of like the theme song for a while amongst me and the homies, and especially me and Skywalker Mike, like just a mindset of like, we're going into new pastures with this one. And then from there, it became even more than just that one song, was just like an agreement of a mindset. It was just like, you call your energy back to you so you can call out the shit that you dislike, or you call your energy back to you so you can, take the solitude and peace that's necessary to separate from some of the stuff that you may be dealing with. Like like you said, like there's so much in that song depending on where you are when you hear it. Sometimes I hear it and I'm really feel optimistic, and other times I hear it and it makes me sad. And and I think that's what I love so much about my music, that it does have like these nuanced layers that I intentionally and unintentionally will be putting a lot of different emotions into it, and it depends on who the listener is.
Yeah. You talked about when you were first like kind of promoting it, or actually I think I read this somewhere where you were, when you dropped I Took It Personal. Yeah, I think that's when I read it. But you talk about when you were released I Took It Personal, how in that there was different themes of betrayal and all these different things that happened that you were talking about. So like, for Calling All My Energy Back, what was happening in your life that made that message necessary?
Just like a misuse of energy, for real. Like, just like knowing what I wanted, but maybe pouring it into the wrong spaces, or like, in the concept of seeing it go from that into identifying other like layers of shift and change and betrayal and hurt. I was going through
friendships and stuff.
Yeah, it was friendships, relationships, my relationship with myself, like a version of myself that I was no longer comfortable with. Yeah. I had to change, and that was like really that first thought or the first pieces of that song, saying like, in this next season, I'm going to need it. I need my energy for what I'm planning on doing on top, not just musically or career wise, but like what I know I need to do and have the courage to do. Like if that was having an uncomfortable conversation with a friend, or not having conversations with a friend anymore, or recognizing certain parts of myself where I'm like, I can't be like this no more. And, definitely coming to the tail end of like a healing journey as well. Like I had ended a multitude of relationships at that time, as well as, like I said, like how those relationships looked, where not all of them were love lost, but it was just like a moment in time to know like it's not going to be like this anymore, And sometimes some of those things were long drawn out blowouts, Some of those things were like really quiet moments that nobody knows but me, that I just had to be like, and I'm done, the same way I had just like quit smoking completely, for example. Like the version of myself there, I was just like, I'm good. Like I'm just gonna stop doing this and kind of challenge myself to change for the benefit of what it could look like on the other side of it. And I feel like that in itself is like the metaphor of like the different ways that I was taking these things personally. Like I was taking them to heart and allowing them to not push me to show up in these spaces differently, but push me to show up for myself differently. So it was really more like, having these conversations with me, like, why did this happen? What could you have done differently? What can you do differently than you've done in these last few years? You know what I mean? And kind of like taking that self audit to be like, why, the overall why, and just pattern recognition and within myself and within relationships, and taking a true estimate of like what I don't like, what I do like, and being mature enough to know that it's all within my power, to take these things personally. And I look at it like identifying a trigger as well too. Like I took these things personally, I dislike these things, and this is what I'm going to do about it. And some of that equal to conversation, and maybe some of that equal to conversation, some of that equal no longer discussing these things that I maybe talked about more than they deserve to at that time, kind of like that version of myself that would complain about something but not changing it, or or experiencing something that was unfavorable and kind of wiping it off and saying, I hope it will be better next time. Well, I'm at a place now, I'm not hoping for these things to be better next time. I'm taking estimate of what I'm allowing to happen to me and for me, and taking ownership over those things, the goods and the bads of it. So
I think that's why it was like such a tsunami when that dropped, because in some ways, I mean, I related to that message, and then I'm thinking, man, how much this can resonate? Just the idea of that, but it's you put it in a song, you know, something that is there, but not necessarily articulated, and you brought it out, and it was just like when I first saw that, I was just like, damn, I relate, I get it, I get that message, I get it, and that's why I feel like it just, when it came out, it felt like a tsunami. It felt like, okay, all right, we're about to sit back and watch Cam this year.
that's the goal. That's the intention.
We're about to watch.
That was the goal, and it's the story as you go through the album. You know, these certain themes. To me, it's like clear as day because I like wrote it out as I'm writing the music. But these are emotions that I go through. You know, like if you identify, and I feel like for me, the first thing I was battling with was like, for years, I've literally told myself and others, don't take it personal. Don't take things personal. You know, it's not personal. Everybody's doing what they think is best for them, and it's not personal. That's just how they're reacting. But at the same time, some things are truly personal, and the more you suppress that, the more you may be allowing these things that other people are doing for their personal interests to be harming you. You know what I mean? And maybe that you know, not so much don't take it. There's a fine line of not taking something personal and allowing these things that are happening to change the person that you are. And I feel like that's really where the lesson is in the people's message of saying don't take it personal. It's like, don't let what's happening change the person that you are. And I was like dead set on not letting that happen. Like, I'm not gonna let these things change my heart. If anything, I'm at the battle that I was having with this project was, is this gonna change my heart if I go this way? And I feel like that's really the hardest part of it, of having to know that once I do this, I can't go back on it, because my heart really wants to. My heart wants to cry out for these friendships that I know I once had, or these relationships that I knew I loved, you know, but this other voice of self-respect of that, I take it personal, that Jordan tonality of just like, you know, and that's all I needed. Like, I had to let him rock a little bit. And, you know, and I'm happy that I did that. I'm happy about the people that can understand where I'm coming from in that way, where it's like my heart truly breaks for that version of myself, but I need to do this. And having that internal battle first, and then it's like creating, like, what does this story look like for somebody? What is this story looking like for me? You know, this is music being my therapy, and also understanding like being emotionally mature in a therapeutic concept. You know, like for those that go to therapy, you may understand what it means to identify your triggers and unpack those things and see why these things are happening. And I'm approaching myself in that same like psychoanalytic way, where it's like, okay, let's start here. What they do? What do they do? Let's call these things out. Like, I'm not going to deal with this anymore. This is me, like, literally, like, setting the tone. What they do is setting the tone of like, y'all did this, you tried it, I'm not tripping, don't try that shit again. Like, that's the tonality from that. And then right after that after you step away from that is having that inner conversation with yourself, the both versions of yourself, that's like, don't be scared about what happens now. Like, that's the now we're getting into the track list. Like, don't be scared of what happens now, because then when you see the world like this and you can't be scared about what happens, and you're gonna constantly be mindful of who the actors are and calling those people out in that same context, and then having, you know, kind of getting into enjoying it. And that's when you get into like, damn, it feels good to tell somebody no, because now I'm walking in this version of me that I was like, man, I was people pleasing. I was trying to like appease these things or like live in these ideas, but the actions of myself and others are not really upholding what I thought these ideas are, and ideas can change. So maybe I need to start saying no where I was saying yes all the time. And then, you know, that story just like goes and goes. But that really is like the flow of that first half of the project, where it's like, so you got to call some shit out first. You can't be afraid about what happens next. And the more you do it, the more you're truly going to start to identify the who's of who's does these kind of things to you. You know what I mean? Yeah. Or does it to others in general. You know, like I do feel like there's another parallel to like just where we are as a global like community here in the Inland Empire as well, but just like the overall music community of like watching these facades of people fall, you know what I mean? Like this was, whether I was knowing it at that time or not, but
After Cat Williams, everything got exposed.
you know what I'm saying? Like and I feel like I was affected by that as well, where that idea rippled to me too, and was like, what side of this shit are we about to be on?
Right.
And who are you gonna be
Right.
when it comes down to it? And it was just important for me to identify that backbone within myself and not being afraid to even change who I was to me to be a better version.
I Took It Personal. It is out now.
Yeah.
You guys got to find it. What's most important, I mean, run it up the streams, of course, but you got to support your artist, especially nowadays. That's where I feel like we're at. Like, not just hip hop, but music in general. Like, it's so expanded now where you have to support your indie artists because we know what we know what the mainstream does. We know, what their objective is. And now it's like, we're taking back ownership of the music even, and so support your artists, support Cam Gnarly, check out the music. I Took It Personal. It's out now. And
I think it's even funnier too, because like people know more, like the common listener is probably more in the know about like how fucked up it is for artists than they've ever been in the past.
Right.
Like if you still believe the disillusion of like, oh, you're a rapper, you're famous, like, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, you must be rich or something like that. Like most people reckon we're all listening to music in almost the same exact way every day, and it's kind of naive to assume that these things are built for the success of an independent artist or an artist in general.
Right.
You know what I mean? So,
right.
Like
Economically, like
it's not happening.
It's so crazy how like now it's like we're being abused in different ways through streaming now. It's like, oh, okay. All right, here's another monster.
For real.
But yeah, support your artists, man. That's really key and important. Man, dude, I want to start off by asking you then, when you hooked up with Midnight Snack, on Calling All My Energy Back, like when you hooked up with them, was there any point in that? Did it feel different having the live instrumentation adaptation of that? Did it feel different?
Yeah, it definitely felt different. It's been a goal of mine, and me and Mike have talked about it for years, of doing like a live album, and or like doing a live version of a song. And when the opportunity came from Altura and One Levi to do their sessions there, it just kind of made sense. And at that time, I don't even think Calling All My Energy wasn't even out when we did that. That's how confident I was in the song. Where I was
so you guys
like,
recorded that before before you even dropped it?
Yeah,
oh,
yeah,
wow,
yeah.
okay.
So we had, or actually, did we put it out? I think we put it out in. No, did we put that out in January? Do you remember? You remember when we put that out? I feel like we put that out at the top of the year.
I thought it was March.
Yeah, what? Calling All My Energy came out in March.
The actual like collab with Midnight Snack.
Yeah, you know what? I think it was supposed to all happen at the same time, if I'm remembering correctly. We did it before it had actually came out, and then we put it out in January, the actual song, and it was meant to follow up quickly after, but it didn't happen as fast. So the audio, like the audio version of it, followed it in February and in March, and I feel like that was kind of the start of things. I don't remember if I had the thought of like, oh, I'm gonna do a performance with a band all year, but I literally just became the MO all year. Like I think I've only done 3 shows, maybe 4 shows this year, which is me and a DJ, like me and Mike, or me and backing tracks. Yeah. So, which is completely different because I know what I can do. I mean, I've been doing that with just in general. Like I've made it all this way, not rapping over my vocals and just pulling up with the USB and just getting some shit cracking in that way. But it's a completely different artistic element to perform with a band. And I definitely have to credit a lot of like my musical history. I grew up, started singing in the church and like singing in the choir when I was a kid. So I feel like there's a second nature to that for me. Which probably is the reason why music has always kind of been something that I've gravitated toward or been like comfortable in. But getting with Midnight Snack specifically really changed how I saw my music in a live capacity, and it did become kind of like almost addictive in that way, where it's like,
yeah, because throughout the year, you guys started doing performances.
Yeah,
together.
like it was it's just different. Like especially them as players. I have to credit all of them as players, from Richard Blackshear,
yeah,
Malik,
they're talented too.
Davon,
Jason, right?
Jason on the horns, but also the homie Justin, Josiah,
it's a big collective.
Steven. I played with all these dudes throughout the year, like all these various shows, and we even did. I almost forgot to. We did LA County Fair too.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And
that was early this year.
And literally all of these shows, to make something different. I know what I can do alone, but to jam with all these different players, all these different times, and only having a few different rehearsals through there. Like so many of those shows are almost just as organic as however I'm going to deliver it when it's just me and the backing track. But to know confidently, like they can test me from the band aspect of what's he gonna do if I do this? Yeah. Like how's he gonna switch it up if I do this?
Yeah, because there's an impromptu thing about it. Yeah,
and they do that, and they're good. They're good for that. And even when we get into the rehearsal capacity of like how much more musicality can we offer to these songs and these arrangements, to pull from the samples of what these songs are and kind of give a little bit of that. For example, like when we do What They Do, we pull a little bit of the Backstabbers sample out. And we put a little bit of the Angie Stone version as well into the overall performance that, when that's just one song, what I mean? Crazy. To have that moment, those various moments in that one song, imagine that over like a 15 or to 40-minute set when we're able to be like, oh, like, don't this sound like this? Or we should do a little bit of this. And, and even the additive of like having background vocalists and stuff like that. Yeah. It gives me more space to come up with different things to do as a performer, and also like feels confident to kind of delegate what I'm gonna, like all these different vocal cues that I work so hard to hit, even if it's just me alone, to be able to be backed up in that way. And I felt like, the artists are old in that way of watching like Ray Charles work with the background singers, like, yo, hit these notes and da-da-da, like that. It gave me a different feeling of connecting with my music or a different level of musicality. So it was, like I said, it's been addictive, and it changes how I perform, even when it's just the backing tracks. But it's a great time.
So they hit you up, right? And they hit you up at Midnight Snack?
No, I hit them up.
Oh, okay.
I've jammed out with like Richard Blackshear and Jason multiple times, and every year prior to 2024. It was completely impromptu, no practice, no nothing. And it was always fun and good. But in this time, I remember we talked, me and Richard, because Richard's also from San Bernardino and works in education like I do too. So we just had a lot of mutuals. Like we really just from the Dino in that way. And when I did the toy giveaway.
Close for me on that. Sorry about that. Just couldn't close. Yeah. That's okay.
But yeah, when we did the toy giveaway, he just mentioned like, man, we got to get together and like really like plan something out and rehearse something. So when the opportunity came and I hit him about doing that particular show, it became like a no-brainer. And then it just kind of reaching a communication every single time of when I was offered another show, because each time we performed together, it like levied another opportunity to perform again together. So sometimes there'd be people hitting me and they're like, yo, can I book you? And I'm like, well, what kind of show do you want? You know what I mean? Like, is this me and my DJ? Because we could do that. Or you want me in the band? Because we could do that. Or even, on the other side of things, like, you want me to DJ or you want, and it's really cool to be able to offer like these different levels of like creative services, like you know what I mean? It's just like, and it's really dope. Like it's hard. Like I said, it's harder than it's ever been in this last 2 years, or in this last year. Because probably 2 years. In 2024 was like a lot of touring around with Noah, and that was a different type of hard.
Yeah, because that was a big. I mean, the album too, North End. That was a big deal too. Mm-hmm.
That was a big to do, and also just like a lot of traveling and going to all these different places. But I feel like it really readied me for what I wanted to do more, which was add more to my stage show as far as like what level of quality I wanted to bring, because I pour so much into these songs, and this really is like my greatest form of therapy that I'm allowed, or I allow myself to share with others, outside of like my personal inner circle. So, you know, I feel like it's, like I said, it's the best honor that I can do into the shit that I'm dealing with internally, to make this music, to do as much as I can to make the music for the music to be received in its best way that it can be. And being able to perform it live has definitely changed and matured, like what I hear when I'm thinking about making music as well, you know, because it's more than just the performance of it, but thinking about what that can be like in the concept of like when we're creating music too. Right. So it's more than just like receiving beats. When I hear a beat and I receive a beat, it's like, oh, I hear the bass lines and the drums and the different cadences and guitars that could happen if we choose to do this song. Yeah. Or, you know, or if we're even in the process of production, you know, it has educated me even more in like what music can be like, or like I said, a higher level of musicality. So I hit them up to perform with me for that, and then it just became an ongoing relationship. Like it just started to make more and more sense, where it was just like, yo, just hit us up and let us know. And we did that, and it worked out. And it's not easy to do, you know. Richard's a great, Midnight Snack is a great collective as a whole, and so many of them are leaders in their own right, and it's made me a better band leader and organizer in that way, to have people I can depend on too.
Because the band you had at Baker's, was that a different band?
They're a part of Midnight Snack Collective. Okay, so on that particular performance, the Altura one that started it, it was none of those players for the Baker show. Yeah. But like I said, I met those particular players are also members of the Midnight Snack Collective. So that was Sir K on drums, Justin Allen on the horn, Davon on the bass, and Malik on the keys.
Wow. So do you know how long it takes them to like learn your instrument, to like translate that? Like,
they're pretty good. I mean, we had I want to say like the longest amount of rehearsal time that we've had, maybe like 2 weeks.
Wow.
And they're really good players. But it's also, I feel like I do my best to make it as easy as possible too, because I know what I want this stuff to sound like. But it's really fun to work with people who are just as passionate about what they hear in music. And we work with people who play instruments. It's different than the production mindset of things. So,
and then they won Live Act of the Year.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did. I feel a little bit a part of that.
Yeah,
for real, because I've been outside with them.
Yeah, you've been outside for sure with them. 909 Day was a big one when you guys performed that and did that performance. I mean, you guys shut it down.
We did that one, no rehearsal too. Wow, that was no rehearsal for that one.
And you guys went all that. I remember your level of energy. You put even a little bit more on the night just to cap it off. You know, I noticed that you took it up a notch even on that night.
Yeah. I mean, had to, man. It's Juneteenth. I'm black as hell. It's necessary.
Well, I was talking about 909 Day, but yeah, Juneteenth too.
Yeah. No, it's true. Yeah, I was thinking about Juneteenth.
Both of them.
But 909 Day too, that one, I feel like we put the energy extra on there because it was a Tuesday night.
Yeah.
So you're like tired, you know, at the same time as like, I think
I called off the next night.
Yeah. We went on last at that time too. So it's like, we want to go out with a bang.
Yep, Neezy's talked about though 909 Day how important and big that was, because you know, as every year we continue, what happens when it's on a Wednesday, Thursday? Oh, now it's on a Friday.
Yeah,
now it's on a Saturday.
Yeah. Like, that's true.
That happens, man.
To see its growth, because I was a part of the first 2 iterations of 909 Day. It started with when we were doing myself and Noah, or Britchy Face, Rad Habits, and A Sincere. We were doing Audio Dope. Remember Audio Dope in Ontario? And that was one of our show iterations from our weekly or monthly Audio Dope. And to see what it's become from those first 2 years when it was packed out right there at the Firewater Bar, and to see that type of reunion happen again, because every few years, you know, you never know what venue we're gonna still have, you know, what artists are still gonna be as active in the scene at the same time. So it's a reunion of sorts too. So having a 909 day is completely different than having a show that's just focused on one guy, one girl, or like somebody's album. It's like something that is all unifying. And like I said, like to see the growth of it from the first 2 times that we did it to that festival aspect of it at the RMA, it was a beautiful time. I saw a lot of people I haven't seen in a long time.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think Pinplug was like, yeah, he goes, all these people, man. It's like, yeah, it takes me back because these are all familiar faces we saw from the Vibe. And, I mean, Yep Easy was from Tomorrow Yesterday, which is, you know, they're famous from coming out of the Vibe too. Mm-hmm. You know, so it was dope to Triz also, and there's so many names, but yeah, it was a dope night. I wanted to ask you, how did dropping? I'm still kind of I'm going to move on after this. Mm-hmm. How did dropping Calling All My Energy? How did it really shift the momentum, like coming into that year? Like,
I think the mixture of the style of the song, you know, I sing on records, you know, I'm definitely a melodic rapper. When I more than often than other songs where it's just me rapping in that way, I still gonna have a melodic drawl to it. But that song in particular, I feel like it really leaned in on some of the songs that are of its like predecessors of like the Levitate kind of vibe or the 9 and those songs in that same kind of way where it is almost it's anthemic in a way, but it also showed, I feel like it the company of releasing that song, the song, I definitely want to say like the resonate, like the amount of people resonating with the song when I first dropped it, when it was just like the CD gif of the reel, seeing the connection of people who like that song turn to loving it when they saw the live version of it, and it also be a live performance version of it too, and to be able to hear both, I feel like that's what truly made the song kind of like splash beyond just like, you know, my January drop at that time. And I think that those two things kind of like go hand in hand, where I displayed something different than I had at that time, where this was a patient thing. You know, I feel like if you would have seen that live, it's not necessarily the same because there's all these different energies and elements, and you know, I'm literally like I'm seated, you know, for that performance. Like this is truly a calm delivery where I'm not here to dance. I'm not here to you know, to do a call and response. This was like a clinic of like live performance, and I was trying to definitely embody like those MTV jams of the Lauryn Hill, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, like an unplugged vibe. So my intention was in my voice, and the intention was in my words, and you know, melding those things with these live instruments at the same time, and also knowing that what this song is going to mean to me, like music, I knew it was going to mean something. I couldn't tell you it was going to be as praised as it was, but I knew it was going to be one of those ones. Just hearing it, like just the, you know, the sample that the horns, from the sample and the horns that Mike chose on that production, I knew this was going to be an important song for me. It was different, but I feel like it's the melding of both those things happening at the same time, where they could hear it, they could see it, and they could listen to the version that they saw. All in one. I feel like it's almost like a package deal that made it an impact in that way.
Yeah. And I saw an interview you did where somebody mentioned they're like, and this didn't make the album, which is crazy.
No, it's not a part of the album.
Yeah,
it's not on the album. It may be on something. We'll see what happens next year. But yeah, like I said, this was not for the album. This is for the catalog, and like the idea, it was for the catalog and for the idea of the musical narrative, so that when it's looked back on to say, first Calling All My Energy came out, then I Took It Personal came out, and to like you said earlier, like to show this range of emotion where I can give you this type of music and or I even house this type of emotion in myself where I'm self-reflective, melodic, almost a gospel song, you know, on the spiritual side, and then also show you what that other side of my spirit looks like when the energy is shifted, and still have that same like attention to like sound detail in I Take It Personal.
Yeah, it must be a crazy feeling to see it relate to different families and kids. Like,
Oh yeah,
it must be,
bro. There's so many. That one in particular, like that song in particular, I've been pulled to the side with people in tears. When we did the Stowaway, a woman pulled me to the side and was literally bawling, telling me like, you know, she's been struggling to pray, and this, you know, this song or that show in particular, alongside Chav and Quonix, she's like, I feel like I really came into like ministry, like for real. Like this was like it brought something out of her, and also, you know, like I said, like the spirit of that song was brought to me from my grandmother. So anytime that I'm talking about that, it's reminding me what it looks like when I follow that level of guidance, that spiritual guidance, you know, receiving messages from something that's beyond me and writing it down and putting it into the world and glorifying God through what I'm doing, creatively, musically, community wise, like God being at the forefront of everything that I'm doing. To have those kind of moments where someone's coming to me and telling me like, yo, this is what I'm feeling. And it's happened. It happened multiple times in that weekend. It happens all the time where I'm reminded that what I'm doing is impacting others in a way, and it's resonating with people on a spiritual level, even if I'm not necessarily telling people to do anything in particular more than just like to pray or to take time and find themselves within their faith. It means a lot to see it come back to me, you know what I mean? And that song in particular, it'd be that coming back to me. It just, like, you can't write that shit. Like I wrote that shit, but I didn't write that shit.
Yeah.
Like,
I love how KRS-One talks about how like sometimes these songs, or no, was it Coolio? I think Coolio said that song was written before even I wrote it. Like,
yeah, we're channeling shit, bro.
Oh man, he said that about Gangsta's Paradise, and I was like, man, that's crazy.
I think Pac said that too on that clip that's on The Pimp a Butterfly, where he's like, man, we really just like, we're really just channeling, like these are just stories from our homies and our ancestors, like from another time. And I do feel like that. There's certain songs that I've written that I don't really know why I said that or why I wrote it that way, but it was what was on my mind. This one in particular, it just has so much more of a forward face to it because it was literally my grandmother said this particular thing to me, and that was the start of this particular song. And that memory changed, that memory, that dream, that night changed my life, and it's still rippling through.
I like how you said like even the butterflies, like, you know, symbolic.
Yeah, no idea. In that tour, when I was on tour in 2024, man, I remember every city I hit, the first thing I would see is that tiger one, that one butterfly, the brown and gold one. And I would just as calmly as I spoke in that dream, like, okay, Mama Grand, I see you, I hear you. And it's from the, you know, so many things. Some things I'm definitely, you know, more personal than I'm going to share here, but like, it just has changed my life and crafted my life to feel comfortable expressing all these levels of emotion. And it all started from that. So that's why I feel so like free almost, where I still am having those conversations with myself of that bleeding heart aspect of me that I have to remind myself, like, no, like this happened for a reason. But it started with this particular song, and everything else kind of is an emotional story that I'm trying to tell or give to the people who listen to me, to know that being positive doesn't look one way, or, you know, being like heavy in prayer doesn't look one way either. But honoring yourself can, as long as you feel okay with it and you're not doing harm to others, like, it's important to do that.
And then you drop I Took It Personal on your birthday, right?
Yep.
Not just yours, but also Teresa's birthday.
Teresa's my
crazy.
birthday twin.
That's
Oh, so much alignment.
You can't
man.
write stuff like that. That's
For real. Yeah. What's so funny is we didn't. I had all intentions of doing so much of what I did earlier and faster. You know what I mean? Than it happened. So me and Teresa had all intentions of dropping. Like I said, we had started working on this project long before it was called I Took It Personal. It would have been called like the Cameron EP, right? And I think that's why I say that on Don't Be Scared of It. Like, pray to God, blessed be. This is a Cameron EP. Like, that's what it was going to be called at that time. And him and I were just going through some emotions that was very similar. But yeah, we do share the same first name. We share the same birthday as well. And we found that out at a show in Fullerton, I want to say sometime in like 2023 or maybe 2022 for real. And it also made sense too because we wanted to drop it in the summer. Yeah, we were like, oh, it's going to be a summer project. Yeah, and it's going to be, I think I even told you that, like, oh, it's going to be my summer shit and da. And, you know, we ended up dropping on the same day that we dropped our first collaboration, which was Save It. That came out September 12th on our birthday, and that was 2022, I think. So that was when, and we didn't realize that we had the same birthday until the year after that. So deciding to put Save It on the project as song number 9, it's just like all this like different levels of alignment and symmetry. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Crazy.
Like, okay. Yeah. So yeah, shout out to Teresa. He went crazy on the production of this project.
I mean, this is different because he also handled the production of the entire album on this one.
First time I ever did that too.
Wow. How is it different? Like, how do you think it? Do you think it's better when the producer kind of handles the production of it entirely, or what makes that special? You think?
I think what makes it special is the story that he's able to tell sonically, and as far as like what we're,
because he shows his range too as well. And with you, yeah.
As far as what we're discussing when we're working on the music, and I think that's what makes it more unique. Like, all right, before I could say like the example that would probably make the most sense for what I've experienced. For a time like when Brooke was my main engineer, right? I would constantly be working with different producers all the time, and Brooke may have one beat or two beats on the project, but it was never like, oh, you're gonna do this whole project for me, and that was never even a thought process, because I was always making music with other people all the time, and then that would just be the spot where we would be working together. He was my like main engineer, so there's the only close similarity to that type of normalcy of normalcy of curating a sound with one person. But still, at the same time, I'm at the helm of that sound because I've chosen these beats, I've written these songs, and I'm kind of like choosing what it's gonna be, and then how we wove what the tone is gonna be, like of the vocals or the mix, right? But the difference in working with Teresa on this particular project, where we're talking about what are the themes, right? What are the themes of the project, and more than just talking about it when we're discussing the themes after it's already been done, we're talking about it before creation of the beat. We're talking about it before creation of what the drops are going to be, the sounds are going to be. And he's just as knowledgeable in discussing, you know, where we were emotionally in this project or why we aligned beyond more than just our name and our birthday. But it's like, I feel like this too. I think I would like to try to experiment with this kind of sound to express this particular emotion. And something that he credited me a few times too, where he was like, I'm really surprised. I surprised him on some of the stuff that I was able to rap on or sing on or write to. Cause he's like, I didn't think you'd be able to write to this. For example, like Problematic. He's like, I made that, or not, I call it Problematic, but it's Problematic. But, at that time, that's what we used to call it. Yeah. But at that time when we had made that, he was just like, bro, I made this before, but putting the finishing touches on it, started with a conversation first, right? And, you know, and also just being in this mindset of like, you know, trying to challenge what we could do, what we wanted to do, what we wanted it to sound like, and also knowing that we wanted to be different than anything that had come before. And also, you know, in my mind, I'm starting like from North and Gnarly. Like that was such a shift of like, all right, everything starts from now. And then where can we go after this? And, you know, I feel like Teresa really like took it there and pushed the music sonically to not sound like anything that I've done before. Yeah, and he did a great job of that.
Because now it's giving real depth to your catalog now, just sound.
Yeah.
And that's something I loved out of Kanye. It was kind of different side of him or aspect of him,
Yeah.
And both of you, it was such a dope collab.
Yeah, we even did a Kanye flip on this one too.
Yeah, that's right. Huh? Yeah, the closer,
the last call out. Yeah,
that was pretty dope little homage there. I noticed because that was on his classic album too.
Yeah,
right?
College Dropout.
Yeah, dude, that was dope. I love how you flipped it too. We were like, oh, I'm gonna unfollow something about I'm gonna block y'all or something.
Yeah, this is my last call for I block you all for real.
That was tight.
But it is that though too. And then like I love the way that Teresa flipped it because we were just joking about it.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the stuff that we did was conversations that we were having. Like I said, like before the music was chosen, and we're like, yo, we need an outro, right? Like, don't we need an outro for this? And he's like, what's your favorite outros? And I'm like, like Last Call.
That was a classic
outro. It's like one of my favorite outros when he's like, mayonnaise color beans. I push Miracle Whips and all that. Like, or like is and doing the is Cam Nard the most overlooked? Yes, sir. Is Cam Nard the most overbooked? Bigger like, and like playing with that, and then him even coming in and kind of like reshaping it to fit the narrative that we were doing, where that's also the first time you hear Teresa's voice on there when he's like, fuck you, Cam Gnarly, for making me feel this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sorry you took it personal or whatever. Sorry, call me back. And it was so funny too.
Yeah, he was playing the anti.
Yeah, and he's like that in the concept of this album. He is the other side of my optimistic positive.
I love that
coin.
video.
Yeah, the therapy one, right?
He's like sitting over there.
Because and I feel like that's what's so fun about it. And we, I love the horror genre, and that was an idea that he came up with on the spot, and he knows that like what I'm into as far as like the movies that I like. So before it was gonna be, we were gonna play off the same name thing, like over in therapy they call for Cameron and we both look,
Oh, I see.
But then it turned into this other thought where he's like, yo, what if like I'm like the person on your shoulder or this thought in your head, right? That only you really see and the audience who's watching it can see, but when you're in the room, you're alone, right? And it's almost the same as like being in the booth. Like I'm by myself. When I'm writing these words or when I'm recording these songs, even if Teresa is in the headphones, telling me what the thought process is, or remember these themes, like so. Doing it in that concept where I'm like talking to essentially look like I'm talking to myself, you know what I mean? Yeah. Which I am, it's my twin. So I love that concept too, because it really framed what this project was, how it was therapeutic. It also like highlighted, going to therapy in that way. That was a real therapy space that people can attend in San Bernardino. Like, they work with all types of insurances. Y'all should go down there. Like, wow. But it was really important to be intentional in that way at the same time as creative too, where he was like that. He is the anti version of me in that way, or for this particular project, or we'll switch sides in that way where he's like super optimistic about something and I may be the anti voice of this thing because we're so similar in that way where we want it to be great. We know that we're great, but it's like having to understand when to just like let great enough be alone, be enough. And for this project too, him being the first time, I think he actually sings some vocals on that song too. But that's the first time you hear his voice. Yeah. And the other little like tidbit too of like the alignment, the things that we never planned or wrote out. We picked Save It to be song number 9. And when we did Save It, in it that I chose to put, this is before him and I were working close together, so I chose to put a telephone sound in the song. All the way back in 2021, the song already had this like, you have reached 909. I was like, stay the fuck off my line and all that, like, is a part of the song. So it being song number 9 and going into number 10 when that is Teresa coming in, it's almost like the phone had been ringing the entire time and then it's Teresa on the voicemail. So we never planned that. That was not post-edit or nothing like that. Like that just happened. Like we knew we were going to do the last call flip. So it started with that voicemail because remember Jay does the fuck you Kanye, I had to kick everybody out the fucking room. Like that was his version of that. So there was just so much divine alignment from all the way going from Calling All My Energy into I Took It Personal, even with North and Gnarly. Like there's so many things that have occurred organically or just in flow musically for me and the people that I work with, where none of this shit is forced. You know what I mean? Like these things are just happening, and we're present enough to be aware to see it. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, this is a good little tidbit of information where we didn't plan this, but I feel like it adds to it too when you listen to the album, especially when you get to save it. And for somebody who may have never heard that song because it didn't exist on any other albums, when you hear the telephone ring and stuff like that, and you ever read to and it goes into that voicemail, like that shit's perfect.
Yeah, that's so dope. And then I love the Easter egg too, where the therapist is saying, you know, you had a successful year, it was really positive or something like that. I love like those little Easter eggs. Yeah. But I was gonna also say what's also interesting or cool is like, you know, him being the anti. You know, I heard you talk about somewhere in an interview where you were like talking about Nirvana, I think, where you were saying that there's like this, like, it's not, there's like you being okay with negative and positive and neutral, like even that kind of like, you know, it's weird how even that, like it made me think about those things when you were talking about him being the anti, you know.
It reminded me of
the Twins and all that.
You know, something that came to mind too, or another thing, I was just gonna say Sinners for right now because I was just thinking about I watched the movie so many times about the twins aspect, but and the aspect of like
that one recently won an award too or something.
I mean, all the awards, they're probably gonna win all of them, but the twins in that movie where there's some things that go unsaid with me and Teresa where it could just be like a look or what we were thinking about in the creation of it. But to go back to the point that you were making, I remember being here and we were talking about the music prior to North End Gnarly, and you were saying like at the same time, and maybe you don't talk about it a lot, but there's like this edge that is in the music, and I feel like that's that undercurrent of like this bubbling frustration, bubbling anger or angst of the things that I definitely was not taking time to process, to talk about, you know what I mean? If that was in relationships and friendships and business and all these things that I was just like suppressing down and allowing just to come out even a little bit in the music, this is probably the edgiest version of a Cam Gnarly project where I'm literally on the edge. Like the whole thing is the edge. Yeah. The concept is the edge.
Your foot's literally on everybody's neck.
For real, like that's the whole thing. And I mean, not only does it feel good to give a voice to that, you know, I remember reading this this book. I can't remember the title of it right now. It's like something about the universe, but it talked about like taking your demons out for cake and discussing, you know, with your demon, like what's going on with you. And it's really like a metaphor about like sitting down with the things that you have inside of you, the things that you wrestle with, the darkness inside of you, and having a conversation with it, having a cup of cake, a cup of coffee and some cake with it, and then leaving it and walking away from it. But in the importance of giving it a voice so that it doesn't consume you. And I felt like that. I was feeling that I was getting to that space in my life where the stuff that I was suppressing was starting to consume me, and it was starting to change me in a way that I didn't necessarily like. It started to allow certain stuff to happen to me that I wasn't necessarily enjoying, and I wasn't given a voice even to that version of myself that was crying out to say, I don't like this, or, you know, have some self-respect, you know what I mean? Like, stop letting this happen. And I really feel like this project in particular gave me the space to write those songs. And maybe on the other side, maybe I was a little afraid of how people would receive that from me. Just like sonically, songwriting wise, like from what people may expect from a Cam Gnarly project. Like, not that I'm always trying to give people what they want, you know, like I'm just expressing myself best I can. If you can keep up with where I am emotionally, stay with me.
You're saying for like the fan that might be like, oh, but I thought you were on the positive thing, you know?
And to another, like I said about that, like that bleeding heart aspect where having that internal dialogue of like, do I care about that?
Yeah.
How much does that bother me to disappoint someone in that way, while I'm also like making sure that I feel okay with it? And then once I'm past that too, also being aware that, you know, like I said, like if I did have any of that kind of thought process, it also made me feel better to be like, yo, almost like that Jay-Z thing is like, if that's what you want to listen to, you can go listen to this. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's another additive of why Calling All My Energy was important for me to release first, where like it's this double entendre of like, if this is what you want and this is what you're comfortable with from me, stay here. This is for you. Yeah. I'm going to give you this at the top of the year, and this will always be a part of this. But the journey that I'm going on, not only is this a placeholder for me, an anchor for me, but it's also a placeholder for you that if you can't come with me to this next place, I'll leave you here. Yeah. We'll be back. You know what I mean? Exactly. So it served.
But I will say, you know, for how I see it is like, in order to get something like Call My Energy, you know, it takes sometimes these paths to get there. Mm-hmm. You know, or I feel like, because I never saw it as the posse movement. I never saw that as like something that you were just saying just to say it. Like, I felt like it came from a place of like, there was a journey even before I met you getting to that place. Yeah. And I feel like sometimes that could be like forgotten, like that you're coming from a place of sincerity, authenticity. You know, people make fun of Gangsta's Paradise from Coolio, but that was such an authentic song to Coolio. Yeah. That's why it worked.
I think that's what's so dope about, I mean, hip hop in general, as an art form, that hip hop has always taught me to do what was right for me, right? Like to say, fuck what people are thinking of you or judging you, because this is a mindset, this is a lifestyle to be in. And I've been existent in hip hop before it was even as popular as it is today. Like it's a distant cousin, it's a family member, it's like in my house, you know what I mean? It's something that has always been a part of me. So at the same time, because of that, I'm also aware of the ways that hip hop has changed, and the intentionality that I put into the music that I make is for a reason. I come from a negative place. I come from a number of circumstances and family members have done, seen, experienced, shared, or lived experience on my own that made me, you know, want to make this kind of music and put this type of energy into the world. But at the same time, I know what I'm also separating myself from when I do that. I know that some people are living a certain a type of life so much that as soon as you even say something positive, they're like, fuck that. You know what I mean? And I'm aware of those people that I've lost along the way in the pursuit of providing this type of thing into the world that is my personal choice artistically. I think something I really enjoyed with this project too, and Calling On My Energy too, to on both sides of it, I've seen some of the people that I didn't expect that song to connect with, that'd be their favorite song, right? But then on the other side, I also knew going into this project that this project may be the one that connects the dot for the person who may not listen to a Gnarly song all the time, but support and root for me just on a personal level, on like who I am as a person, or a homie that they grew up with, or an artist that they know, or something like that. Even if I don't make the kind of shit that they get down to on a regular basis, this project offers an olive branch into what I'm doing, as far as like what the very positive movement is on the other side of, you know, kind of offering something on the other side of the emotional spectrum. I don't think there's any other song or another Gnarly song where you're going to hear me say, damn, it feels good to tell a bitch no. And I know what that means for me, and I'm sure that I can frame it in a backstory of the concept of like people pleasing and there can be that like emotional, intelligent side to it. But for the passerby, you know, that's their MO. Tell that bitch no, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. So I feel like there has been like this shift in all of the music from what North and Gnarly meant on the community side, and like what that opened up for me into what Calling On My Energy has opened up to, just on like a musicality or like the emotional and spiritual side as well, like people who kind of need that, as myself included. And then for the other person who may be more dwelling in their darkness, you know what I mean? Or taking shit personal all the time. Like they didn't expect that I could be some type of identifying light in that thing. But I could tell them like, yo, I'm feeling the same shit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But the intention of this project is to guide you through what that may feel like when you got to call shit out, when you see bullshit all the time, or you're used to seeing it, or people are completely problematic, or what it feels like to be stuck in this artist life where if I was working in a warehouse job or some shit like that, I probably wouldn't be encountering all these different issues and shit like that, because I'm trying so hard to, that other Jay-Z line, like, they say you change, like I work this hard to say the same, you know what I mean? Like, that's the whole prospect or the whole like concept of artist life for that project. And then, ending it in Last Call Out, where it's like sometimes you do gotta block them, and I don't mean just on social media or whatever, but like block that shit out, block whatever. Like if you took a person and how you take care of it may just be no longer talking to them anymore, no more discussions, block them out your life, say a toast for them and a prayer for them, and let them go. You know what I mean? And I feel like this project is an olive branch to those people who I may have lost along the way on some like, oh yeah, what kind of music you make? Oh, my music is rooted in positivity and da-da-da. It's like, nah, like, and I'm aware of that, I'm not, that's not lost on me.
Yeah. I love it, Cam. I took it personal. It's out now. Check it out on the streaming platforms, everywhere you get your music. But most importantly, like we were talking about, support your artists, go directly to the websites and pick it up. Cam, I enjoyed this conversation with you, and I'm honored that you made the time to come out and talk about this year. It's such an amazing run. I'm excited to see like your future endeavors and where else you take this, man. It's beautiful to kind of see where you're at and the levels. There's levels to it, and that you're building, man.
Yeah, the next level is only up from here. And that's really where my mindset is. I feel like I've gotten so much out, in a cathartic way, in a musical way, in a business way, to show where my mindset is, to show what I'm capable of, to show, what, like, how hard I'm willing to go to forge my own path. And I definitely feel like I've had a valid, like separation to show, like, this is me, like, this is where I am. And I had to do a lot of this shit on my own, and it felt good to do that in that way too, because I owed it to myself. And I feel like for all artists, like you may find yourself feeling at peace being surrounded by or in an echo chamber of people who are telling you what you're doing is great, what you're doing is good. But the most creative space to be in is that uncertainty of like, yo, I love this, I don't know how they're going to feel about it. That is some magical shit, because you have an opportunity to surprise yourself. You have an opportunity to fail in public. You know what I mean? And if the one thing I can say that taking up the new task of like DJing has taught me since 2024 was failing in public and knowing that maybe this transition ain't always the best one, but go to the next song and keep going. And that has been like this metaphor that I've been keeping with me as I'm going through my musical journey as an artist, to be like, maybe this transition may have lost some people, or maybe they don't know what to expect from me next, but I love that, you know what I mean? Because you got another opportunity to drop another song. So it's only up from here. If you want to support, please go to verypositive.store and buy some merch. We got vinyl, CD, cassette, and all the Very Positive merch will be available there on verypositive.store. You can visit camgnarly.com or pull up to a show, man. Buy a ticket. Shout out to the 150 people that pulled up to the farmhouse to support our soul service series. We'll be bringing that back. And I'm just blessed, man. All glory to God. Couldn't do none of this without my faith in God. And man, I hope all y'all just really stay prayed up and stay active, stay aware and show up for each other, show up for yourself.
If you ever got an extra ticket, Count, let me know, and I'll do some videography for you.
Yeah, come on, bro. You could have been did that. You could have been did that.
This whole year.
If there's anybody who's at home thinking like, damn, I wish he would have had a ticket for me, please hit me up, because, shit, I can't do this shit and hold the camera. You know what I'm saying? So please hit me up. I got you, bro. You already know. Let me know.
For sure. All right, Cam Gnarly, everybody. Check him out. I Took It Personal, dropped. Man, keep following him. He's had a dope run, and I know he's going to continue to have a dope run.
Tap in, man. Tap in.
Thank you again.
Oh, Cam. Also, shout out to my boy, Dewey Saunders, who did the artwork for
yeah.
I Took It Personal,
yeah,
too.
that you guys been watching, yeah.
Yeah, he's a legend. He did Anderson .Paak's Malibu Futures, the Wizard album.
Oh, really?
He's done stuff for one of my favorite hardcore band, Turnstile, and now I'm added to this illustrious history of artwork. So shout out to Dewey Saunders. Cam Gnarly, I Took It Personal out right now.
All right, everybody. You know we're dropping episodes every Monday. Peace.
Yeah.